This is the Georgia Farm Monitor. Since 1966, your source for state and national agribusiness news and features for farmers and consumers about Georgia's #1 industry, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the state's largest general farm organization, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now, here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Burgamy.
Well, from all of us here at the Georgia Farm Monitor, hope you're having a great Christmas season. As always, so good to have you along for the ride. I'm Ray DeLessio.
And I'm Kenny Burgamy. A little bit of a change in our normal format. Instead of the latest news and feature stories, we're going to feature your favorite stories of this past year. And as you know, we're always encouraging you to take a look at the over 600 Farm Monitor stories on our YouTube channel. Well, now we've analyzed the numbers and have come up with a list of the top stories that you logged on to during 2014. Hopefully, your favorite story is on the list.
And as we get started, it's important to note that the stories we have chosen are by no means in any particular order. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and begin in Madison County, Georgia. Whether it's using GPS to guide tractors, microchips to track herds, or even apps to control irrigation, the agricultural industry has never been more technologically advanced. And the next big thing could be using solar-powered wells on isolated farms to maintain water quality. Damon Jones takes a look at one such operation and tells you why it might help you save some money.
Solar is just another supply of energy. Instead of getting energy from a fossil fuel like diesel or gasoline, we're actually getting it from the sun.
It's a constant source of power that's being used to run small things like calculators and watches and bigger things like cars and houses. And now it's being slowly integrated into the agricultural industry. And one example is this solar-powered well pump, which is perfect for farmers in isolated areas of the state.
If you're in remote locations, solar will actually provide that energy source for you. And then so you get rid of the problems with fossil fuels. And you have the sun there typically during the daytime hours.
Now this system keeps the herd watered while also keeping them out of streams and ponds, which would have a severely negative impact on water quality around the state.
It wasn't cost effective to run electricity back here to wells to water livestock. And rather than having livestock getting into streams or surface water and having potential environmental problems associated with that, we were able to utilize new technology using solar panels to power these wells.
This 3-year-old system needs less than 5 hours of sunlight a day to keep the water tanks full, and when in operation, works just as well as traditional pumps that use electricity and gas.
Reliability, these things work just like any other pump. You never know once they get going that you're still pumping 5 gallons a minute, 2 gallons a minute, 10 gallons a minute. It's a pump, and so it works real well. It's like you said, the change is a little bit different, and instead of having a motor running, you've got electrons moving.
Speaking of moving, another added bonus for this new technology is its versatility.
You know, these systems can be portable. You can set them up on trailers and move from one well to another, so you have a lot of versatility in this type of system, unlike what you would have if you had a power pole at a well. You're stationary there.
The major question facing this type of pump is the initial startup cost. And while this type of system's price is around $8,000, that might actually save you money in the short term and will definitely save you money in the long run, especially in remote areas.
Startup cost on solar is a high initial input cost, but the typical, these systems, the solar panels work about 25, 30 years or so. So once you get over the initial cost, it will actually work its way out over time. Once you start the system up, there's no additional cost associated with it.
Compared to the cost of running electricity here, this was a much more cost-effective option. And it's going to last for years to come, and it's going to provide water to livestock. It's going to provide security and knowing that water is going to be available.
If farmers are interested, they can contact a few organizations that do offer potential cost share assistance.
They'll actually help cost share some of the startup costs on installing solar for multiple different facilities, agricultural products, and programs on a larger scale. So if a farmer wants a larger scale installation, work with USDA Rural Development, they can work through the REAP program to help fund some of that.
Reporting from Madison County, I'm Damon Jones for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, before you throw out that liter of soda in your refrigerator, listen to this. Back in April, I took a trip to Statesboro, Georgia. I found one student and a professor that had an idea to get other students involved with sustainability. In Bullock County, on the campus of Georgia Southern University, a group of students recently built a greenhouse. Now, that may not sound all that unusual, but the group used plastic beverage bottles to create the structure. Christina Beslin, graduate assistant at the Center for Sustainability at GSU, said it took 52 students to complete the project.
We have 1,500 2-liter soda bottles, and we specifically tried to keep them to white, clear bottles only. There are 140 poles, and they are garden stakes per the instructions, and then the wood is repurposed materials from here on Georgia Southern campus that they had taken down for other projects, and they were going to put it in the landfill or get rid of it, and we repurposed it into the greenhouse.
The greenhouse was the vision of GSU senior Ash Kelly.
Well, I've always been interested in sustainability in itself. And I'm always looking on the internet for just do-it-yourself projects for the house. But then I came across this on the internet, and I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do this by myself. And I know about the Center for Sustainability, so I brought it up to Lisa Leahy, and she actually liked the idea. And then a few weeks later, they were like, hey, we're actually going to do this, so you have no choice but to help.
Director of the center at GSU, Lisa Leahy, said she had one goal in mind.
There's a lot of concern, I think, among sustainability-minded people about what's happening to our resources. It turns out that we throw away 32 million tons of plastic every year in the United States. In the U.S., every 5 minutes we use 2 million plastic beverage bottles, most of which get thrown away. Only 9% of plastics are recycled. So the goal of this project is to really raise awareness about the fact that plastic is a valuable resource that can be used again and again, and it's not trash, and we shouldn't treat it as such.
Ash Kelly said he's always looking for ways to get students engaged.
What can we do to have people get involved? Give something that they've never done before, something where they can actually use a hammer, use a nail, be together in just kind of like casual environment, not a stressful educational only. You got to have a leisure mentality.
Leahy, a professor of biology, said she always enjoys connecting students with the local farmers.
Yes, so Center for Sustainability, we encourage local farmers markets. We've actually brought a campus farmers market to our campus. That started 4 years ago and it has continued throughout. So we work with our local farmers and invite them to our campus to sell us their goods. This greenhouse will be used for an after-school garden program with children. There are 5 elementary schools in town that we work with for an after-school garden program. So we're encouraging those children to understand where their food comes from. So we're teaching them sustainable agriculture principles and teaching them about nutrition while they're growing their food from seed to harvest.
All right, up next on the monitor, one of the biggest events of 2014 as some of Georgia's top young talent invade Perry for the annual 4-H FFA Livestock Show. We'll look back at who walked away with what.
Meantime, this segment received over 1,200 hits on the YouTube channel. See Ranger Nick at his best hunting for venomous snakes. Stay tuned. The Georgia Farm Monitor continues in a moment. Alrighty, welcome back to our special Best of YouTube version of the Georgia Farm Monitor. Now let's go back to February and the annual Georgia Junior National Livestock Show that brought 4-H and FFA students from across the state to Perry. They're competing in a wide variety of livestock divisions. As Mark Wildman tells us, the students who take part in the show spend countless hours getting their animals ready and learn some valuable lessons along the way.
When 4-H and FFA students march their livestock projects into the show ring, it not only is a chance to compete against other students, but it represents countless hours of hard work and dedication, raising the animals and getting them show ready. This year, hundreds of students competed in a wide variety of different events. There were hogs, sheep, dairy cows, steers, and heifers. And once again, Georgia Farm Bureau was on site to sponsor the grand champions of each of these events. Georgia Farm Bureau is a proud sponsor of this event and feels the lessons learned from these livestock competitions will stay with the students for the rest of their lives.
Anytime you can go out and help children and help them develop life skills through taking care of animals and and having a routine they have to go through each and every day and be responsible for a creature's health. It's just a good experience, and we're glad to be able to give back to our community through giving to our youth programs. We think that's important in each County Farm Bureau office, that we get involved with our local kids and what they're doing in athletics and in showmanship and showing animals.
In the Breeding U competition, Ben Porter of Morgan County 4-H brought home first prize. He competed against some really tough competition to bring home the grand champion title.
Oh, I'm happy. I didn't see it coming. You learn responsibility. You have to get up early and feed them, stay up, and just how to take care of an animal.
Over in the hog barn, there was a repeat champion. Chanley Underwood of Jeff Davis County 4-H won the Market Gilt Show.
It's pretty awesome. Her name's Angel, and I worked every day for 45 minutes. She's just a good pig, and that Zach Breed just gave her to me, and that's how she's so sweet.
Over in the dairy barn, the commercial dairy heifer grand champion went to J.C. Babb of Houston County FFA.
She does not have a name. I try not to name them because I get attached when I name them. So I've been working with her since November. We work every day after school and on 2 hours on the weekends.
Over in the steer show, the top prize went to another repeat winner. Bo Bailey took home the top prize among a full ring of top-notch steers.
Words can't describe it. It's awesome. Just made sure that his feet were set right and made sure he had a wide base and made sure he got out and got that long stride in.
The competition was very tough in the Market Barrow Show, where another Georgia Farm Bureau top prize was handed out. Here, Abby Rainwater of Houston County 4-H was the winner.
Well, we have to train them for a very long time. I mean, like, when we first got them, we got them in October, I think. And so you just have to train them to walk with the stick and everything. It's not all about winning, but it's a very good thing just to show them and to have fun.
Finally, at the Sutherland Arena, Lakin Davis of Colquitt County FFA took home the grand champion honors in the heifer show.
I have to wash her and work her every day and set her up, and it takes a lot of work after school. I spend every afternoon down there at the barn working her and just getting her ready for the show and making her gentle so she acts good in the show ring. She's a baby, so they really thought that it was cool that she looked that good, that she was a baby. So, because I don't think normally babies win like big shows like this, and they just caught her eye.
Once again, it was a very successful show, and all the grand champions will be invited to a Georgia Farm Bureau Champions Banquet, where each will be honored. Reporting from Perry, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Well, judging by the number of hits this story received, 8,000 plus and counting, safe to say that you, the viewers, are a bit adventurous. With that said, imagine if a day at the office meant cruising at upwards of 140 miles per hour, 10 feet above the ground, while at the same time avoiding power lines, trees, and even the occasional farm animal. Now, for some, just the thought of it makes them uneasy. That's why being an ag pilot takes special training and a special individual to sign up for that training.
They're a little bit daredevilish. Nowadays, at the cost of the aircraft that we fly, up to $1,600,000 a piece, you're not a daredevil anymore, you're a businessman. And if you don't treat it that way, you don't need to be in the business.
For 30 years now, Billy Howell has owned and operated Ag Flight Pilot Training LLC, located at the Decatur County Airport in Bainbridge, Georgia. A retired crop dusting veteran himself, Howell says the demand for ag pilots is at an all-time high. The reason? Simple attrition, according to Howell.
What's happened in the industry, all of us old ones that's been in the business 30 and 40 years, we all got old at the same time. And there's about 3,000 ag pilots that work in the United States during the season. 65% of them are 69, 70, 71, 72 years old. Even though there's no restrictions on age, as long as you can pass the physical, you can fly. People don't understand that without ag pilots or the availability of the ag pilots and the airplanes, there'd be an immediate 60% loss in the amount of food products that could be produced. And there'd be mass starvation all over the world.
Considered one of the top ag flight schools in the world, Howell's training program offers more than just an education in flying. It more or less allows students to live, eat, and breathe the pilot lifestyle. In addition to classroom work, which focuses heavily on agriculture, students also have access to dorm rooms and apartments, amenities that are included in the cost of the school. More importantly, though, future pilots are trained in a timely manner and find themselves working sooner rather than later.
We've got 16 aircraft. All of them are tail wheel but 3. We don't ever take over 8 or 9 students at the time. So you don't have to sit around and wait for your time to fly like a lot of these schools. The airline schools, takes them 2 or 3 years to go through school, and they get out and they hire them at $18,000 a year. I've had people that go through my school in 3 to 4 months, get out, go to work, make $90,000 the first season. And that's 6 months out of the year. It hadn't happened just a few times, it happens all the time.
All right, so you've toured the facility, you've met all the instructors, you like what you see on the ground, but how do you know if being an ag pilot is still for you? Only one way to find out, and that's get off the ground. You see, even before stepping foot in a classroom, every potential student of Howell's is offered a complimentary test ride. Truth be told, Billy says it's a good old-fashioned gut check. Bottom line, if a person can't handle the test flight, they may want to think long and hard about being an ag pilot.
I don't care who they are. If I walk in here with the money in the hand, I want to take them for a ride and show them what we're going to teach them. And this answers 2 questions for me, because my people are so experienced. They know right just time you snap your finger when they start flying. Are they scared of it? Do they really want to do this for a living? And when one goes out and does that, we know. He come walking back across here, coming back in the office, he'd be walking about this high up off the ground, because he's found something that he really likes. But it's just, you know, I was voted least likely to teach anybody anything, and wound up owning a school for 30 years. That's amazing to me.
Up next on The Monitor, it's a Ranger Nick segment you definitely do not want to miss, especially if you plan on doing any type of exploring in the woods.
Well, this past year, Ranger Nick exposed us to many things: bald eagles, fish, and wildlife, all kinds of neat stuff.
Yeah, it's been an adventure with the guy, let me
Yes,
tell
it
you.
has.
But back in April, Nick and his good buddy Berkeley Boone of the Department of Natural Resources had a simple message for all of us. That message: enjoy nature, but at the same time, respect it and its inhabitants.
You know, we've been talking for several months about going out in the woods, flipping over logs, looking for wildlife in Berkeley. As springtime comes and the reptiles and things start coming out of hibernation, reptiles, insects, we've got to start to be worried, I think, about some things that are coming back out that could do us harm.
Sure.
And so I'm hoping that today we're going to spend some time together looking around out in the woods, see if we can find some things that the folks at home should be worried about. And I hope that we survive all of this today, right?
Exactly. I think we'll be just fine.
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll go out.
Berkeley's an expert on venomous snakes. He's an expert on reptiles. We're going to go out looking for things today and see what we can find. So I think it's going to be a good one. Well, we're out here in the woods, Berkeley and I, and we've come to a place that Berkeley has told me is a tin site. You'll notice on the ground a bunch of pieces of tin that have been put out to encourage snakes and other reptiles to go under them during the evening and during the past couple days. Berkeley and I are going to walk around and lift a couple of these up and hopefully find something today. I want you to notice something that Berkeley's got, though. Check it out. Berkeley has got a professional snake stick. And this is not something that we're about to do that we encourage folks to do. It's wonderful, as we've shared in our last few segments, go out in the woods and look for things. but the whole point of our monthly segment this month is to proceed with caution, to be careful. Wildlife aren't out there to get us, but we do have to know certain things. So Berkeley, we can just kind of walk around and lift some stuff up. Notice what Berkeley's going to do here, being safe with that stick.
All right, yeah, basically what I'm doing is I am pinning down, there's a little cricket right there. That's good, snake food there. I'm kind of pinching down the close end of the board with my toe, and then I'm lifting the board toward me so that I'm basically creating an escape route for anything that may be under there. If it doesn't want to deal with me, it can go that way instead of closer to me.
Excellent.
Coming toward my feet there. So nothing under that board.
Creating a barrier right there for safety. That's great. Just
Exactly.
Excellent.
Exactly. Here. And the other thing with these pieces of tin is you never want to use your fingers to lift them up with, because there could be a venomous snake under one of them, and you don't want to provide that opportunity to get close enough to get bitten.
Absolutely. That makes great sense to me. Yeah. I tell you, I'm already shaking out here just in anticipation of what we might see.
Oh, yep.
Ooh, look at this. Look at this.
There's a copperhead right there.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a very common venomous snake here in Georgia. And that is just a beautiful, beautiful individual. Let's see if I can pull her out here a little bit closer for us.
Notice again, Berkeley using that hook. Of course, not trying to touch this thing. Amazing. Look at this. Beautiful.
Yeah, and just like her name says, she has that wonderful copper-colored head, and she is a venomous species. And that head shape is actually going to be indicative that she is a venomous species. You can see it's kind of diamond-shaped or arrow-shaped there. She's got those swellings right behind the jawline. She also has these very distinctive Hershey's Kiss-shaped or hourglass-shaped patterns that go down her back. They don't always have to be this color. This is a very light-colored example, but I've also seen some that are very rich brown or chestnut-colored. And just individual variation.
Wow. Now, for our viewers who might be out on the Midwest or the West Coast, Berkeley, would they be likely to see something like this west of the Mississippi River? Where could we find this?
Well, yeah, copperheads are found kind of throughout the eastern part of the U.S. Okay. There are some that live in Texas and in the Midwest, different subspecies, but they could find copperheads. They don't live all the way out west, though, into the desert areas out California and all that. So.
Okay, excellent. I mean, and it's a cool day today, and it seems like is acting very, very slow. Of course, with being a cold-blooded animal, cold outside today, being very lethargic like that. So I guess for us, that's a good thing. We don't have to step back too fast on things. Yeah. So interesting. Let's keep looking around for some other things. Sure. This is wild.
Sure.
Great. We've moved locations. We're actually in a fairly residential area out in kind of an old home site. We're going to walk around out here and continue looking. Berkeley's got his snake stick. Again, safety first. Let's kind of take a look, Berkeley, and walk up here and see what we can find. And notice the way we're walking, too. Very cautiously, not making a whole lot of noise. Berkeley. Right over here.
Nice.
Look at this. Now I'm going to step back a little bit. What do we got here? What is this?
That's a canebrake rattlesnake or a timber rattlesnake.
Okay.
Some folks know him as. This is a pretty good sized example. He's about 4 feet long. Let me see if I can get him a little closer.
Amazing. Berkeley, this is another one of the venomous snakes that we've got right here in the southeast that we can find. Look at that. Look at the tongue sensing the air there, looking. We're right around an old abandoned home site looking at this guy. Why would he be in a place like this, Berkeley?
Well, this is a great spot for snakes in general, not just the rattlesnakes, but snakes in general, because of all the rocks and the bricks piled up here, the downed logs. This is great habitat for them to hide in, as well as spend the winter in. But it's also an attractant for rodents, squirrels and rats and things like that. They're prey. So multiple reasons for them to be here.
It's amazing. And we talked about the copperhead, and you told us about the shape of the head on the copperhead, the triangular shaped head implying a venomous snake. Are there other ways to determine a venomous snake? Looking at this guy now, aside from the rattle, I guess, right? We hear that.
The rattle's a dead giveaway, pardon the pun. But the eyes are another way to tell. And this guy, it may be difficult to see the angle that he's at now. Let's see if I can turn his head a little bit. But he's got kind of elliptically shaped pupils. They go up and down like a cat rather than round like a person's eyes.
Okay.
So that's going to be another giveaway for a venomous snake.
Amazing. So we've got the shape of the head, we've got the shape of the eyes. Obviously this guy, a rattle, canebrake or timber rattlesnake right out here in a residential area. Something to be cautious of. Again, you're following along with the Ranger Nick stuff, looking under logs, out in the woods looking for nature. Just to be aware of, these things are in the same habitats where we live.
Ranger Nick, what will we do without him? He actually had a snake that he wanted me to give you, but I didn't think you'd want it.
Yeah,
so
I'm glad you didn't bring it.
Yeah, okay, I just left that thing at home.
Thanks.
Well, that's going to do it for this special YouTube edition of the Georgia Farm Monitor. Next week, or next year, I should say, it's another special show. Our reporter favorites for 2014.
Yeah, now just a reminder for all the latest ag info regarding food, great recipes, and what's happening down on the farm, check out our Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest pages. You'll stay informed and see what's up in the world of farming and the Farm Monitor Show.
Take care, everybody. We will see you next week right here on the Georgia Farm Monitor.
Have a safe and happy New Year, everybody.